Recently, Cecilus made his debut in Arc 7 after the situation in Chaos Flame that made Tanza and Subaru somehow appear on an island, and that's how Subaru met Cecilus, and that's when Cecilus made his debut in the web novel series. If you have read the web novel series of ReZero, Cecilus has been mentioned quite a few times throughout the series, but we all know that Cecilus is the strongest divine general in the Valachian Empire. But how strong is the Blue Lightning? But before we get into the video, I recommend you check out my other ReZero content and other related anime content. Let's get into the video. So Cecilus made his debut in Arc 7, and it's been mentioned quite a few times, especially in Arc 6. Julius and Ram mentioned about Cecilus the Blue Lightning. He gets mentioned quite a few times because he's one of the strongest characters in the ReZero world. He's very close to Reinhardt. Everybody compares him to Reinhardt, and there's a battle between Reinhardt versus Cecilus, and we're going to do another video about that later. But the question is, how strong is Cecilus actually? Cecilus got his name of Blue Lightning because of his extraordinary speed. Cecilus is able to move around as fast as lightning, surpassing human senses, being able to run right through checkpoints without even being noticed. When serious, he moves his Zori before running and is even able to surpass the speed of a lightning bolt. He also has extraordinary swordsmanship. Cecilus is extremely skilled with the sword and got the dual swords, utilizing inhuman speed and reflexes. Cecilus can move at breakneck speed, circles of enemies, and strike them down with extreme preciseness and powerful slashes. It is noted that most opponents do not manage to block more than one of his serious attacks. When Julius was able to block all 7 slashes, Cecilus was left extremely impressed and decided to take him a little bit more seriously. But when he is serious, he can move at speeds that his opponents think they're fighting hundreds of Cecilus clones at the same time. That's how fast Cecilus really is. He is unbelievable. Extreme speeds. You can't even keep up with him, and that is unbelievable. And he also got extraordinary intuition. Cecilus has amazing intuition, which allows him to figure out Joshua's condition in just a few minutes by the way he walks. So he can tell if you're hurt or not, or something bothering you, just by the way you walk and your facial expressions, and that is a great ability to have. He also has his equipment. So Cecilus has 2 swords. There's the red sword and there's the blue sword, which he usually keeps at his waist. And the red sword is Mersama, and that is the Fiend sword. And the Fiend sword is classified as an enchanted sword and has a very long story history due to his magic. And it requires sacrifice blood in order to satisfy his hunger for violence. In other words, the owner of the Fiend sword must use it as a killing tool rather often. It is said this sword is capable even killing things are invincible just by touching them, and according to Julius, the Murasama emits extreme cruelty and bloodlust. And his blue sword, the Masayum, the Dream Sword, is an enchanted sword, just like the Murasama sword. And just like the Fiend sword, it required blood sacrifice to satisfy a hunger for violence. It is just like the Fiend sword, and it must be used as a killing tool as often. And one of the most interesting things about this sword, or the double swords, is that it eats away at the holder's soul. Those are Cecilus' best and second best swords, and he does this with immense power. Cecilus is extremely powerful. He is well known around the world as one of the most powerful swordsmen alive. As a mere teenager, he single-handedly slaughtered an entire army. Cecilus is said to be capable of defeating the previous generation sword saint Theresia van Astria with relative ease. Alongside with Kakaragi, Amira, and Gregusco's Mass Prince, he is one of the 3 that actually is near Reinhardt's power. I mean by his power level. He even caused Reinhardt to pull out the legendary Dragon Sword of Reed. That's how powerful Cecilus is. And for a fun fact, both Cecilus swords are actually categorized under the so-called 10 Swords of Power. And that's a really cool fact to know that. But tell me in the comments down below, tell me what you think and how you feel how strong and powerful Cecilus really is. But put a like at the end of the video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video.